It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's Spookoplathon time. For the next week, I'll be letting Spookoplathon pick my books. This was a TBR game, a readathon created by Becca from Becca and the Books. I'll leave Becca's announcement video down below for anyone to check out. I'm filming this intro after rating, and let me tell you, we are in for a hoot this week. I found a new favorite this week. 5 stars. You're gonna hear me gushing, gagging, drooling, screaming, laughing, giggling, doing all those things in this vlog because I had the best reading week I've had in a long time. And I'm so excited I get to share it with you. So here's roll 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Editing Casty here to say that I was pretty sick when I filmed this, and I did not realize that roll 1 was a double. I am currently reading my roll 5 book, but I am doing another roll after this, so I will, for roll 6, do 2 rolls to make up for the fact that, this was a double that I didn't see. Starting off strong. I am fighting off a cold, so please bear with me. I'm gonna be a little stuffed up. So sorry, I don't normally sound like this. I have some hot tea to drink. I'm really excited. The good thing is though, when I'm sick, I'm a reader. I am one of those people that a lot of you are probably jealous of. Like, I read so much when I'm sick because all I have to do is lie in bed and I don't really like to sleep. So I keep my mind going with reading. But it does mean that I'm about 50% into the games gods play currently. I will say, like, I first kind of struggled with the writing style in this book. I think I felt, for lack of a better word, that it felt cringy. It felt like a Wattpad story where, like, we're looking in the mirror and we're explaining what clothes we wear and things like that. The tone was just very, like, flimsy girl. But as I kept reading, I really fell into the writing style and started to really enjoy it and think it worked for this character and the story and what she's going through. I'm connecting to her, I'm connecting to the story. I think I'm having a really good time with it. I think it's fun. I think it's unique. Yes, it's hard to read a book like this with trials and not compare it to the Hunger Games, like, of my generation. Of course you're going to, but I think it's bringing some unique elements with its style of games and things like that. Essentially, this follows a world where every so often, I don't know how long, the gods choose a human competitor to compete, and the winner of all these trials that the gods put them through, that god will then be the next god of, like, Olympus. And typically, Hades does not compete because he is a king of his own right. He has his own world. He's the king of the underworld. He doesn't fit in with the rest of the gods. But for some reason, this year he has chosen a competitor, and that is our main character. And she is already an outcast because none of the gods really get along with Hades. They're mad at him for competing. Like, he's already a king. Why does he also want to be the king of Olympus? The humans are terrified because why would you want the god of death to be the king? She's struggling to make allies and things like that as she goes through these trials, but she has heart, and it's hard not to gravitate towards someone who is always trying to help everybody and things like that. I find her heroic. I would definitely be a lot more selfish in this scenario, but I'm enjoying her point of view. The romance is definitely insta-lovey. Like, they automatically love each other. They think each other are so hot. But also, there's some really funny lines. I think at some point he takes his, like, jacket off and he has, like, tattoos up his arms, and she's like, forearms are just body pieces. They're not hot. And I giggled so much at that line. I thought it was so funny and, like, such a, like, 20, I think she's in her early 20s, like, early 20 thing to do. Like, I was at the bar and a guy would be like, walk by and I'd be like, he's hot. And so I feel like I'm vibing. Maybe reads a little bit more young adult than new adult, but, like, at the same time, like, I think she feels 20 to me. She might feel younger to other people though. I just remember how I was at 20, fangirling over men, drooling. I was talking about the romance being insta-lovey and then I got carried away. I was gonna say, the thing with the romance being insta-lovey is, like, what's carrying this book is the trials, in my opinion. Like, I'm so excited every time we get to another trial, another competition, to see what it is, what the gods have created, how we're gonna get out of it, which person is going to need our help, things like that, what gift we're gonna use, how Hades is gonna react at the end. Like, I'm loving the trial aspect of this quite a bit. I think it's comped pretty well. The Hunger Games meets Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I'm really enjoying this so far. Like, it is a fun, easy popcorn read in my opinion. I'm probably gonna finish it very quickly because all I want to do is sit down and read. Like, I stayed up last night turning the pages. My first update. I'm gonna order McDonald's now because I deserve that. Listen, I'm sick. I'm not using my real camera. I'm using my phone, and you have to let it slide because I'm sick, and sick people get well soon points, right? This book has me giggling. I love the humor in it. It's so funny. Like, even just the like part names, the things like the chapter names, the quotes and all the parts, things like that. Like, it's so funny. It's quirky. It's cute. Like, I'm vibing so hard. I want to keep reading. I finished the games Gods Play. Welcome to my sick center. I'm not 100% certain what I'm giving this. I'm between a 4 and a 5. I have complaints about this book, but I had so much fun with this book. Like, it's so fun. There's no other word for it. It was entertaining. I giggled at it. Seriously enjoyed my time with this book. There was cute moments. There was good humor. I wish it was a standalone. There is a setup for a second book, and I don't think I'm tempted to read that second book. Like, it feels like a standalone in my opinion, besides like the last chapter. And I think it could really benefited as a standalone story and maybe been just a little bit longer, even though it's already a long book. It's at like 450 pages or something. But I had a good time with these characters. I had a good time with the plot. The trials were really interesting to me. I loved seeing each of the trials. Sorry, my TV is changing colors in the background. But I had an interesting time seeing every single trial happen, how they were going to escape it, how they were going to work together, if they were going to work together, if someone was going to die. I think one of the biggest struggles for this is going to be that it reads a little bit more YA, but they are 20-year-old characters. She's in her early 20s. I want to say she's like 22, 23, but she definitely reads to a lot of people more like 17, 18. But there are like gruesome elements in this. I think you could categorize this as YA. There is a smut scene in it, but the gore and stuff isn't worse than the Hunger Games in my opinion. And honestly, the smut isn't any worse than the last Twilight book. So I do think that you could categorize this as YA, but I enjoyed it. It's cringy at times. I didn't like love the romance. I think I'm giving it a 4-star because I do have a lot of complaints, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be recommending this to people. I thought it was fun. If you're looking for something that's kind of like the same vibe as Powerless, just like mindless, giggling good time, I would pick this up. And even though the romance was cringe, like, I liked their moments together. They like played off of each other quite well and were stubborn and picked on each other and things like that. And Aphrodite was a standout god for me in this. I really enjoyed the Aphrodite scenes. Yeah, I don't know. I have nothing but like good things to say about my experience with this book. I had a lot of fun. I have done another roll. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Community shelf. So I have all these boys. This one.
And I got Romantasy. I think I'm gonna pick up Bonded by Thorns. This is screaming for me to read it. It's a why choose about a girl who goes to find her father who is missing, and she finds him captive, and she ends up making a deal to take his place. And there's 4 Fae Prince that are the ones that have him captive, and she learns that they have a curse on them where they shift into werewolves at night, and the only way that curse will be broken is if they find their one true love, their mate. But she's falling in love with all 4 of them. I think that this just screams fall, and I've been really wanting to read it. So I'm gonna try and get my hands on the ebook, and I'm gonna read that tonight. At least start it. I think my boyfriend's gonna go live on Twitch, so I'll probably just like have him on in the background while I read. Hi, I have just been playing Sunhaven. I'm kind of addicted to it. It's kind of like Stardew Valley if you haven't like played it, but it's fantastical, and I really like some of the elements that it has that Stardew doesn't. There is like this element of upgrading your skills, but you get to choose what skills you prioritize and things like that. And obviously there's like some magic to it. I'm a demon character in it. I think I'm really cute. My little name is Cassadoodle. I've really enjoyed starting to play it. I started it recently. My friend Chris suggested it for me. We streamed it over over on Twitch for the first time, and then I was absolutely addicted to it, and I keep playing it. So I was just listening to an audiobook, you know, playing some chill, cozy gaming. I'm about 30% into Bonded by Thorns, and I'm enjoying it. It's definitely nothing like groundbreaking, but it's fun and I'm really enjoying it. We're mostly in setup still. She's just gone to swap herself out for her father, and she's learned about the prince's curse. We've met all of the princes at this point and know all of them, but we haven't really like dived into their personalities. So at this point they kind of run together, but I think as we go on there's gonna be ones I like more. I am enjoying the world building. There is some like A Court of Thorns and Roses vibes with them having a curse on them. One of them wears a mask, only one though, and they're the princes of each season. Those kind of remind me of ACOTAR, but I also feel like ACOTAR's not the first person to do like seasons as a thing or like a curse. Like ACOTAR is a retelling of a bunch of different things as well. But as I said, I'm enjoying it. I like our main character so far. It is reading a little bit younger, like probably like she probably reads like 18ish to me, but I don't know, I'm vibing. Like it's interesting and I'm entertained and I can't wait to like find out which guy I like the best. I definitely think I like a Why Choose. I'm really like into it. I'm just like excited to learn every single guy's personality and everything about them. There's definitely like the like flirting bad boy. I'm kind of into him already. I think that he's fun. Like their sauna scene, like the bath scene was so good with him. And then we have like the little guy that was in the dungeons, and he's gonna be so sweet. He's gonna be a little sweet boy, I think. So I'm just excited to learn about all the characters. I think that's what I like about Why Choose, is learning the men. So I'm definitely excited. I want to keep reading. I'm probably going to keep playing, but I'm cold and I'm going to go shower because I've got to chill and I can't get over it. And then we're going to go back to playing Sunhaven. I need to get a cow so that I can't milk and like bake. Oh, the other thing that's cool about Sunhaven is like food really matters. You eat things in this game to like build up your heart and your mana. It's really interesting how they do it. I would definitely suggest Sunhaven if you're looking for a cozy game. Another one I've been obsessed with is Chef RPG. We just played it in demo day on one of my streams and I think I'm going to keep playing it. I really liked Chef RPG too, which has like a restaurant style. It's like a restaurant sim instead of a farming sim, but I would recommend both of these, especially if you're a cozy gamer. I finished Bonded by Thorns and I actually really enjoyed this one. I finished it early this morning. It's probably been about 5 hours, and the more I sit on it, the more I'm really happy that I read this and I think I really enjoyed it. It's definitely like a fun time read. Like you cannot, sorry, my cat's trying to eat my pancake plate. I had pancakes this morning and so there's syrup on the plate and she's trying to lick it because it's on the ground. Go away! What if I just... She hates being picked up. It is really just a fun time read. You can't take it too seriously. It's nothing unique in its story. Like you definitely know what's coming. It's like expected, but that doesn't take away from the funness aspect and the way I enjoyed the story. And I think there was enough unique elements within the like world building and the fairy tale-esqueness of this that I still really enjoyed it and would recommend it. I'm giving it a 3 stars, probably like a 3.5. And I'm actually really hoping that our next roll allows me to pick up the second book. I would kind of like to binge it. I think this is a series that you have to binge. If you don't binge it, you're probably going to forget about it, if that makes sense. Like for me at least, I would probably read this first book and then forget to continue it if I didn't just like continue right now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, right Miley? Our next role will be something that I can pick up, the second book. I just really enjoy Why Choose. I enjoy like ranking the men. Like I think it's so fun. I automatically texted my friend Claire as soon as I was done being like, what's your tier ranking of the men? And here's mine. Because I don't know, I just find something fun about learning about all the men. I wish we had learned more about them in this first book, but I get that with Why Choose a lot of the time, I put her down, she automatically went to that. I get with Why Choose sometimes it's a slow burn with like each book being about a different man. I would say this book is very poly, not just Why Choose. It's not about like the woman just sleeping with all these men. Like there is sexual intercourse between the men as well at times, even without her. So I would say it's a poly romance. Maybe labeling it as Why Choose isn't the right way to go. I'm not familiar enough with like the differences enough, I guess. To me, Why Choose is about the woman taking control, and it often is her. Like she doesn't want to choose between the men, but they aren't necessarily in a relationship. They're just all in a relationship with her, where this could lean towards them all being in a relationship with each other. So far we only know that 2 are in a relationship kind of with each other, so there's that aspect of it as well, which I liked. The first sex scene surprised me and was definitely like, I was unsure if I was going to like this in this, because that first sex scene I just made me kind of uncomfortable, but I think it's supposed to because of what it is, like how it's supposed to shock her, so it shocked me, and it just like didn't feel like we warmed up to that moment. Like I like to see the chemistry build between people before I get a smut scene. So at first I was like, maybe the smut's not going to be for me if it's all going to be like this. But as the smut continued, I really did enjoy it, and I think we did work up to the scenes. I just think that first scene was supposed to be shocking for her and the viewer. But yeah, I don't know. I liked this. I had fun with it. I liked all the men. I liked the plot line, the storyline, the world building, and the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger.
We're on community shelf. Let's do our next roll. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cauldron.
In the Becca document, Cauldron says it's to gather your ingredients, a book containing more than one of your favorite tropes. So I think I'm gonna count the second book in the Bonded by Thorns series and continue it. It is Why Choose, which I think I do like. I think I'm gonna call that something that I'm really, really interested in reading. Maybe not an absolute favorite, but like I really like it in the books that I've read. I like Ranking the Men. So that, there's some enemies to lovers. I like the weather magic in this. Like I definitely think there's a lot of things that I love in this book. So we're gonna pick the next one up. And I'm excited. Hopefully we have a series binge happening in this video. I love a good series binge. Like, they're my favorite way to read a series. This isn't completed yet, but it has 4 books out currently. I've been listening to the audiobook as well. We already know that, and I would recommend. I liked it. Have I moved much in the last like 48 hours? No, I've just been addicted to cozy gaming right now. I played Chef RPG like all day, and I'm pretty much almost done. The next book in the Bonded by Thorns series. I'm really enjoying this. The second book I like better than the first book. I like that we're seeing more of the characters' personalities. We're seeing a little bit more of the world and the politics and like what got them here. There's also a character that is more heavily in this book that I like the best. I won't say who, but if you've read this, you'll know he's my favorite. If you're a Broken Bonds girly, I would recommend picking this up. I think it's smuttier. Yeah, I don't know. I'm giggling. It's smuttier, and I like that the men have relationships. I like that we see them interact more. I feel like in Broken Bonds, I'm gonna compare it to that because it's like pretty much the only fantasy Why Choose I've read. We see North and Nox kind of have a friendship on page. We see them interact a little bit, but the rest of them, and then we see Gabe and Atlas interact, but like I feel like we don't really see a lot of interactions between the men. It's always with her. In this, we do get a lot of the men POVs, and we see their bonds. We see them as a family as a whole, and their brotherhood, and what that means when there's a female in between them. Literally, figuratively, all of that sense. And yeah, like I'm smiling, like I'm having a really good time. I just want to keep reading. I'm hoping roll 3 will let me read the third book. Like I'm going for a binge. If roll 3 doesn't let me read the third book, I'm reading it and just not vlogging. But hopefully roll 3 will just like continue the binge on. It's been like a book per day at this point. This is my laptop just sitting here. That's really bad camera positioning. Listen, I'm too far into the Why Choose smut to pay attention to where my camera positioning was. I want to get back to it. I want to finish it. I need to update Claire on my tier ranking once I'm done. Listen, I'm liking this. Hi, we're in the car. This is such a bad angle, but recently I discovered that I like chicken burgers. Really interesting. We went for Chick-fil-A because we got our first Chick-fil-A in like this side of Canada, and I decided to try it even though I don't typically like burgers and I don't like breaded meat, but I really enjoyed it, and so now I'm on my chicken burger journey and I've been ranking them. So I tried Chick-fil-A and then I tried the Wendy's spicy chicken burger, and so far Chick-fil-A's better and then Wendy's, but my mom loves the Popeyes spicy chicken burger, so I'm about to go get that for lunch today so that I can add it to like my tier ranking, and I'm kind of excited. Thank you. Have a good day. I finished the second book last night. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. It is so enjoyable.
This is not perfect literature. Like, don't go into this thinking that like it's Shakespeare or like the plot is so unique, but I just like really fell for the characters, and I'm loving watching our main character explore herself, explore her sexuality, what that means between each man, having men treat her the way she should be treated, treating her like a goddess. And then, you know what, also helping them find love and find their sexuality and accept who they are as people. Like, it is really about them discovering themselves, not only with each other, but also by themselves. I think we also see sprinkles of an actual plot in the second book, because the first book I was like, plot who? Second book, you know, maybe still a little plot who. I did a roll.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And I'm so thankful that my role was mood read, because I had already started this book. I started it as soon as I finished book 2, and I was just like, I hope, my fingers are crossing, I'm praying my next role fits for book 3. And book 3, we start to really see the plot come together. We're seeing what is going to be this expansive series. I think it's like 6 books, Claire said, 4 are out currently. We're really starting to see where the story is gonna go from just their relationship. But I also love that it's been like slow burn with a lot of these boys in terms of like character development. There is smut, and they are having sexual relations, and they are like really into each other really early on. They're protective and they're jealous and things like that. But like the fact that they're mates doesn't click in for a while, and like it's like slow burn. And there's one character right now that I'm just like, oh my god, he's putting me in his feels. Like, he's so sad and jealous, and he's just so sad, and like there's a moment where I'm just like, oh my god, what is happening? How can it not be him? And I'm just like, oh yeah, like I'm feeling the feelings. I'm gasping at things, I'm giggling at things. I'm having such a good time with this series. Book 3, just like book 2, starts off with a punch, in my opinion, starts off strong, and I'm hoping it continues from there. Thanks. Welcome to my binge. I just finished book 3. This was so good. Honestly, this series is just making me smile and have such a good time with it. But in book 3, we really see the plot expand. I think that if I didn't get this from the series, I might not have continued on past this. But in book 3, we are coming out swinging. We are pulling the big punches. We're pulling on our heartstrings. Pawns and chess pieces are being moved around the table, and we're really seeing the overall scope of the story come to life. I do wish we had got a little bit more of that in book 2, but I'm so happy we saw so many things happen in book 3, and I'm so excited to see where the story goes from here. Last book, I was unsure how it was going to be a 6-book long series. After this book, I see the vision, I'm here for it, I'm on this ride with them, and I will not be hopping off anytime soon. I loved this. I love all the men. My tier ranking really changed in this one, I think. I think it goes Cass then Kel. I don't know. In this book, Kel really shined for me. I loved the small moments with Kel were so good. Maybe Kel then Cass, then Day, then Ez, then Farron. Farron's gonna be at the bottom this entire time. He's too sweet for me. I like my men to be a little bit more opinionated and brooding and strong-willed, and he'll work for a lot of people, but he's definitely like too soft for me. But Ez in this book, my little shy boy who won't show his face, what you did to her? Yes, just yes. I don't have words. We're 3 books in, if you don't know already. Like, I'm loving this series. It's so fun. But yeah, we really saw them come together as like a family in this one, and we really saw the plot escalate in this one, and it's everything I wanted from the series. Do I take a break, or do I dive right into book 4? That is always the question. Book 4 doesn't have an audio out yet, which kind of sucks, but maybe I'll read it physically. I do have a package to unbox. The ink pages. This is my Ever King edition. It says right on here. Look at how pretty this book is. That's the cover. Move over to the spine, and then we have the back. Oh, and then we have an edge as well, which I think is super pretty. The inside artwork, which is different on both sides. And then we also do have this like page overlay. I read both the Ever King and the Ever Queen pirate romantasy that I really enjoyed and would recommend to people.
4, 5, 6. We were on mood read. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stabby.
Hi, I'm just making a coffee. I actually haven't had an iced coffee in a very long time. I've been drinking a lot of tea lately. This is my espresso, and it does have brown sugar and a little bit of caramel sauce in it. But for stabby, I decided to go with Clown in a Cornfield 3. What is more stabby than a slasher? And this book starts out with a bang. I've always thought that the Clown in a Cornfield series was gorier than a lot of YA is, and I think it's something I really enjoyed about it. But this book, I think, is the goriest for sure. But also, I do feel like a franchise like this tends to get gorier with every single book. Like when you think about movies like this, that's what happens, and I'm really, really liking this one so far. It took me a little bit just to remember everything from past books, but I do think that they do a good job of reminding you about the things that happened, and I'm very excited to see where this goes. This is a YA slasher about a bunch of people being slashed and murdered by some clowns in a cornfield. This one's the Church of Friendo, and it's creepy. There's like a town that kills outsiders at this point, and the clown is the one that kills the outsiders. It's actually like really, really creepy so far, and I'm really liking it. I am also technically reading the fourth and final book in the Bonded by Thorns series. However, if my next role works for it, I will vlog it, but if not, I'm just going to talk about it in a wrap up and not vlog it. But I am loving that. So that's my update for you. I need to put some ice in this and drinky. I told you that I am on a chicken burger journey earlier on this video, and today we are continuing that journey. I'm gonna try the A&W one today. A&W actually had two spicy chicken burgers, the habanero and the southern one. I got the southern one. Habanero seemed very scary. Fries. I actually prefer thinner fries. I like my fries to be super crispy, but still delicious. I got a Coke because I don't like A&W root beer, even though that's what they're known for. I also don't like their onion rings, even though that's what they're known for. Oh, another fry. I know that fries that are in the bottom of this technically just fell out of my like package of fries, but for some reason they feel like free fries. It is greasy looking. It looks actually kind of delicious. Where to bite? What I've learned from both this one and the Popeyes one is I don't like pickles on my chicken burgers. And I love pickles. Like I eat pickles like straight out of the can, but for some reason, not on this thing. This one's got good heat. I think this is in last place because it's essentially just, since I don't like pickles, a bun and chicken. However, I really like the flavor to it and the spice and the meat. So I think if you added lettuce and tomatoes to this, this would be third. But I think because of I ordered it just as is, it's going in fourth place. I can't bring myself to move this chair out of the way because she looks so cute. She loves to sleep on it. So I'm in a weird spot. So sorry. I'm about halfway through Clown in a Cornfield 3. This is heavy hitting. I am seeing so many mixed reviews, so many like 3 stars for this book because it's following a new cast kind of than the last book where like we have our main character, but for the most part we're following a whole new cast in the first 2. But I'm obsessed with it. I literally sat here in sprints like holding my face like, holy crap, what am I reading right now? The cult aspect of this is so disturbing. Like I actually feel truly disturbed reading this, what's going on, and watching our one character like struggle in the cult. I can't lie, like our main character Quinn from the other books, I don't really care as much about her POVs. I think that they're still interesting, but not as interesting as being in, I think it's Gracie's head. I really enjoyed her scenes because it's just like what is happening in this small town is deeply disturbing. I'm loving this. I actually think this so far is my favorite Clown in a Cornfield. I just love the conversation we're having, but I will say also when I read these books, I don't necessarily care as much about the characters. I was never in it for the gang, like the Scooby gang. I was in it for like the politics and the conversation these stories have, which I think is why book 2 also worked better for me than book 1 because I feel like the conversation of book 2 about conspiracies was incredible. And this essentially, this cult leader takes over a town that was already really religious and sways them to his religion, which could happen. Like if someone just came in and started saying like this is wrong because of this and this and made you like sway to your religion, like that happens. This could happen in my opinion. Like this is terrifying and incredible. I'm gonna finish it. I finished Clown in a Cornfield 3 yesterday and I'm giving this 4 stars. The ending was a little rushed personally. It's not unusual. I feel like the endings are always rushed. Like once the action starts, it goes pretty fast in this franchise. However, for me, it left a lot of unanswered questions about the cult itself. I really wanted to know a bit deeper about the cult. I feel like this one did not get as deep as the other ones in the end, which sucks because I was loving the first half of this so much. The first half, like, I was vibing. I think in the end, this ended up leaning more into the gore and the kills and all of that and less about like the conversations these stories typically have. So that was kind of sad for me. However, like to the very end, we definitely have an opening for Clown and Cornfield 4, which is very excited. Maybe a new final girl. I hope to see some of that trauma in the next book still. And I don't know, like, I still really had a good time. I enjoyed this. I enjoy this franchise. I enjoy Adam Cesar's writing. I enjoy it. So it did get a 4-star. Kind of disappointing it wasn't a 5, but also had a great time. I read it all in like one day. And I can't wait for Clown and Cornfield 4 whenever it gets announced. I swear it will. It must, right? It must. We must get a 4th. I hope the series never ends. They're just a lot of fun, but also very deep, in my opinion.
I apparently forgot a double earlier, so we're doing 2 rolls this time. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Community shelves. A horror. And for our second roll, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Present.
A horror that I want to read right now is actually really easy. There's 3 that came to mind for me. 13 Stories. So thirsty, and We Used to Live Here. I'm going with We Used to Live Here though because it does have an audiobook on Everand, and I've just been grinding through audiobooks lately, and I am reading a physical book still currently. So I started this. I'm 5 chapters in. I'm already kind of disturbed. There's definitely some creepy haunted house stuff happening. Like, we're just setting the atmosphere right now in this like rundown house that's like gothic and vintage, and there's like changes that have been made. There's some really weird things. There's essentially satanic drawings in random spots across the house, and there's like weird paintings and carvings and things like that, and it's really setting up a creepy atmosphere of like what happened previously at this house. And this whole family is entertaining watching them go down. I'm liking our main character and her narrative tone. I'm really enjoying this so far, but I'm only 4 chapters in, so I hope I continue to love it. I think I'm just over halfway into this. I'm gonna put my bookmark. It was actually really hard to find my spot because there's no chapter numbers, they're just titles, and I'm listening to the audiobook. The audiobook is doing a really good job. The narrator has like tension in her voice, and I'm really enjoying it. I do wish a little more was happening in this book. We just got a scene where I feel like a lot just happened, and I'm hoping we continue that as the story goes into its final 100 pages. But I'm also deeply disturbed by what's happening. Like, I just feel so tense at all times while listening to this book, which is my favorite thing to feel in a horror book. I want to just like have my stomach in knots constantly as I'm reading or listening or whatever it is, and I think that this book is doing this. Sometimes the downfall is that I don't get enough answers, and although it did that feeling to me, I feel like I was never satisfied by the ending, and I'm a little worried because I've heard that there aren't answers in this, that I'm gonna feel that way, because like at this moment in time I'm like, what is going on, and I want to know what is going on within the house. So if I don't get answers, I'm not sure I'll love this, but at this point in time, I'm loving the feelings this book is giving to me. I did not tell you what this is about. We're following a couple who flip houses together. Sorry, my light is changing. I'm using natural light and the sun is shining. We're following a couple who flip houses together. They bought this old house that was a really, really good deal, thinking, okay, we're gonna flip it. They didn't do a lot of research into it because they were kind of desperate, and it was such a good deal that they were just like, yeah, sure, fine, let's flip it. They're probably gonna be there for about a year flipping this house. They just kind of arrived not too long ago, and they get a knock on their door of a family saying, hey, we used to live here. We used to live here. Can we come in? Can we see the house? I want to show my family what my childhood house was. But then creepy things start happening. A child goes missing for a while. These people seem to never leave, and we just follow a very creepy vibe within this house, and something is definitely not right here. this definitely will put you on the edge of your seat. Like, it's definitely like an uncomfortable, eerie feeling that has been created by this author. Also, I'm wondering if they're Canadian, because at some point they mention Saskatchewan, and I feel like only Canadians mention Saskatchewan. You know, like, if you're not Canadian, you're gonna mention a Canadian city. It's gonna be like Vancouver or Toronto or Quebec, not somewhere in Saskatchewan. I guess I could find that out. Oh, he is! Vancouver, Canada. See? My theory was correct. Only Canadians mention Saskatchewan. That's all my thoughts so far. I will probably update you next when I'm done. Also, I had McDonald's for lunch, and I thought it was hilarious because Monopoly is back just in time for Spookoplathon. I didn't get anything good though. I finished We Used to Live Here, and I'm giving this book 4 stars. I, for a while, thought it was a 3, and for a while thought it was a 5, so I really went back and forth on my rating here. I wish more had happened. I wish it was a little bit more action-packed or just like story-focused, plot-focused. I don't know how to explain that. But at the same time, I loved the atmosphere created in this story. I felt so unnerved this entire story, and for a horror book to do that, I feel like you have to give it props. At one point, I was sitting here like, did this book go over my head? But at the end, I really enjoyed the very end, and I don't think it went over my head, and I had a good time with it. I'm still processing a lot of my emotions. Like, I remember texting Lexi at one point being like, my emotions on this book are just confuzzled right now. It's disturbing to read. Like, it's so unsettling. Like, this book is unsettling. That is the verb to use, the word to use. It's not my favorite horror book I've ever read, but I enjoyed it. I liked it. I would recommend it to you, especially if you want to just feel like disturbed the entire time, like just unsettled about what could or could not be going on, what's real, what's not real. Like, I felt like my face looks this entire story. I was just confused and unsettled, and along for the ride that is this story, I do kind of wish I'd read it physically and not done the audiobook. The audiobook is done really well, but I do think that reading it physically would have helped me in those moments of confusion, because I was like, wait, did I just stop paying attention to the audiobook, or is this book purposely doing that? And if I'd read it physically, I would have never had those moments. But overall, I really did enjoy this. It is a very interesting take on a haunted house story. It's different, and I would recommend it. I enjoyed it. But let's do our final roll.
11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
For bone, I'm definitely stretching this a little bit, and I'm gonna go with the 4th book in the Bonded by Thorns series. Listen, most of the cover is a face, and it's literally like this like tanny bone-colored skin, so I'm gonna count it as a bone-colored cover, even though probably only 50% is, and then the other 50% is like, I think, black or green. I love a good stretch, and I'm currently about 40% in, and this is an easy 5-star for me. Like, I'm calling it now. It's going to be a 5-star. I knew from like the very first chapter. I'm loving the characters in this. I'm loving where we are, and we're really focused on the plot within this story, which I think is really good. And then we're seeing like character interactions on top of that. I don't know why I'm just so smiley and giggly just like even talking about this book, but like I am, and every chapter really changes my tier ranking. Like, every POV I'm in, I'm like, are you my favorite? You could be. And then I get to the next POV, I'm like, no, you could be my favorite. I do think Cass is my favorite. I think that he will probably remain at the top because I just love like his type of character and his like humor and stuff, and I really like him. But like, Kel has been shining, and my favorite smut scenes are definitely with Ez. I love Ez's dirty talk. But this is, I think, Day's story, and Day is growing on me a lot in this one. I mean, I've liked him. He's jumped around the tier ranking quite a bit, but in this one, there's something about the storyline that we're in with him that makes me just like want him so badly. Like, I just want him to be happy. This series has really, really spoken to me. I thought this was just gonna be a fun time read, and yes, it is, but the plot ends up developing quite a bit in this 3rd and 4th book, and I'm loving it. This will probably be on my favorites of the year. I am having a great time with it. I'm so happy I decided to binge it. So happy that Spookoplathon let me binge it, with a few stretches, because those are needed sometimes. I've been sitting here thinking about this book all day. Like, all day. I was supposed to be so productive today, but I've done nothing. I've literally done nothing. I watched YouTube videos and just kind of sat. At one point, I just sat there in silence thinking about my love of these characters. I love when I pick a book up and it becomes something to me that I never expected. I thought I would like this, but I did not think I would be obsessed. And I am. I'm obsessed.
This made me feel so much. This fourth and final book in this series was impeccable, amazing. Kudos to these two women. It's a sister duo who write this, which, like, props to them. I could not imagine writing this smut with my sister. And they do a fantastic job at the world building, at the romance and the relationships in this. Not only the romantic relationships, but like other relationships as well. Like there's some sibling relationships in this that I'm like, ugh. There's two girls that come into play into this fourth book that had my heart. The storyline with them and Ez was like so precious and one of my favorite storylines to read. This fourth and final book had me constantly swapping which guy I liked the most. All I know is I like Cass the most. Like Cass is my man. And I do think Kel is second overall because I feel like I've loved him in every single story. And the next book is his book and I'm so excited. The author's note says that she'll see us in winter and I'm like, yes, I'm getting a Kel book because I love Kel. But it also shocked me with Day. I loved reading Day's chapters. I loved Ez's chapters in this. And I actually really liked Farron's chapters in this. Our sweet boy Farron grew on me in this and I was not expecting that to happen. But like the moments below with him and I just feel so much for these characters. Do I think this is probably a little bloated? Yes. But did I eat it up? Yes. It probably could have been shortened and not been a 7-book long series. But I want every book. I literally texted Claire at the end of this being like, I was close to the end and I was like, I'm DNFing this. Not really, but like my heart wants to because I was just so upset. I didn't want to know what was happening in the rest of this book. And I was like, I could just pretend that they live happily ever after right now. Right now. Because I know I'm about to be devastated. And I was. It upped the stakes at every level. Every chapter ended on a cliffhanger. Every chapter I was angry. I was like, what, you're gonna end there? I don't want to read this person's POV. But then you switch to the next person's POV and you remembered the cliffhanger they ended on and you were like, oh, I'm gonna eat this up. And I was just obsessed. And then I was like begging for chapters of people, like begging. It's like, please give me these scenes. These scenes I've been wanting for 3 books. And we got them. And I felt so fulfilled because they were so incredible and I wanted to reread so many of the chapters in this book. And this book pulled on my heartstrings. I love these characters. I can honestly say that I am a why choose poly romance girly. The way these men are in love, like it's a little family. There are scenes together without her even. Sometimes when I was reading a smut scene and I was like, she could just leave. She could just leave. Not really because I loved her with them too. But she also loved them and they just had so much love and I felt the love and all that and the plot as well. I just am rambling. I'm rambling because I loved this so much and I don't know how I'm supposed to wait like a whole year for another book. How can... So if you are feeling the need to fall head over heels for some new characters, fall head over heels for some men because Cass, he is the man of my dream. Cass and Kel together. Cass, Kel, Day, Farron, Ez together. There's a man in this book for everyone and I guarantee you by the end of it you're gonna love all of them. They're written so well. They all have personalities. And the plot, I honestly think that this is a really good fantasy romance plot. Is it the most creative? No. Is she overpowerful? Yes. Can she just do anything and everything and she's amazing and she's the chosen one so everything will work out? Yes. But did I eat up every moment? Did I still gasp when something bad happened thinking fine because she's gonna save the day but still my heart was breaking? Yes, because their hearts were breaking and that's the sign of a true writer's craft is when even though I know everything is going to be okay, I'm still upset because all the characters do not know everything is going to be okay. 5 stars to this series. This is the first book in the series, not the one I just read. But amazing. I need Fairy Loot to continue these editions because I need them. I need matching of all of these. And I also need a novella following Delphi. Please. That does bring us to the end of Spookoplathon. I am starting a new vlog right at the end of this where I'm playing TBR Harvest. And my first prompt for TBR Harvest is to play something from a different readathon. So here's my first Spookoplathon roll for it. And I hope to catch you in a week's time when that video's out with more fangirling, screaming, crying, throwing up vibes. And if you'd like to continue watching my videos in the meantime, I'll put my last vlog on the screen for you to check out. And if you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a rose emoji and have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.